Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to check out this video. This Christmas, I'm giving a few of my friends and family members IFAKs, specifically trauma kits, and I'm setting them up exactly as I set up my own. I thought this could be an interesting video for a few of you guys who, like me, recognize that patching holes is oftentimes a more important skill than making holes. As a brief disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, and although one of my favorite parts of the military was getting TC3 and CLS training and working directly with 18 Deltas and Whiskey 1s, this is not medical advice, and I strongly encourage people who do take this seriously to consult resources more qualified than myself. I start my builds with these HX Outdoors Tearaway Moly IFAKs. Unfortunately, they're Chinese made, but they work great and they're less than 15 bucks a piece. First piece of kit is going to be the Ever-Ready 24-inch universal aluminum splint. This is a super handy product to have, super compact, and I'm just going to go ahead and tuck this in that back pocket. And I'm going to make sure to leave that Velcro strap underneath because there's no reason to secure it more than it has to be. If you want to get it out, you probably need to get it out in a hurry. So next up, I'm going to take these Rhino Rescue chest seals. I'm going to get 2 of them. Unfortunately, these are also Chinese made. Don't worry, we're going to get some quality products getting in here soon. But I have found that once again, these are a good value and they do seem to work pretty well. These are vented. I don't really think there's a big difference between vented and non-vented because vented ones seem to normally get clogged up with blood anyway. So I don't really have a preference. I'm going to tuck these just right in front of the splint. This pocket is perfectly sized for 2 chest seals. Next up is going to be an Everlit Mylar emergency blanket. This is going to fit right in front of the chest seals, and this is a great thing to have, super cheap, and it's going to square us away on the H part of the S-March protocol, preventing hypothermia during shock. Next, we're going to need some trauma shears. This is an Amazon brand. They're ridiculously cheap, like $2 a set, and I've used them quite a bit. They work great. We're just going to go ahead and tuck these in the outermost elastic band in that same section of the pouch we've been working in. Next, we're going to get some nitrile gloves in the mix. These are going to be just the same gloves I use for gun cleaning. I like to spend on my nitrile gloves. It's just so convenient to have the extra duty 6 or 8 mil versions. I'm just going to throw 2 in this little plastic bag. This is not going to be the only nitrile gloves in the set, but here's going to be one of them. We're just going to get that guy nice and rolled up, and we're going to tuck it in that center elastic strap. Next up is going to be a Rush Ink NPA, or nasopharyngeal airway. These are super useful for clearing an airway of someone whose face is super messed up or might be choking on blood or something like that. These come with these nice little 5-gram lubricant packets. We're going to go ahead and take 1 packet and roll it up very carefully in one of these packaged NPAs. And we're going to go ahead and slide that in our 3rd and final elastic retaining band. And the last item going in this section is going to be a Sharpie. Sharpies are critical for marking times in which tourniquets are applied, marking different injuries, or cheering up patients by drawing funny mustaches on them. We're going to go ahead and tuck that right with our trauma shears. Moving on to the middle section, we got the North American Rescue Combat Application Tourniquet, the Gen 7. This is not an item you want to cheap out on because, to be honest, it's probably the piece of kit which is most likely to save your or someone else's life. I'm going to go ahead and get this prepped the way I like it. There are different ways in which people will set up their tourniquets. This is just the way that I was taught, and the way that I like does not mean it's the only way or the best way. Once you got it configured the way you like it, go ahead and slide that in the bottom elastic band in the middle section of the pack. Next up, we got a couple rolls of elastic bandage. I've got 1 4-inch and 1 2-inch simply because that's what fits. These are super versatile pieces of kit that can be used to secure the splint. They can be used to apply pressure to a wound pack, and they can even be doubled up and used as an improvised tourniquet if needed. Next up is another super versatile item, the simple triangular cotton bandage. Doesn't take up a lot of space, and we can drop it right at the bottom of our kit. Of course, we're also going to want an Israeli bandage. This is another item you don't want to cheap out on. Some of the Chinese ones are literal junk, and the real deal is not that expensive. So this is a Texas-made Performance Systems emergency bandage, and we can put it right on top of our triangular bandage. So now we're going to turn our attention to the little mesh insert pocket, and we're going to begin by filling it with 2 4-inch rolls of gauze. Obviously, gauze is a critical piece of trauma kit, and it really does rival the tourniquet for being the most important piece of kit that you can carry. This will not be the only gauze in our kit, but this is a great place to just get a little bit of extra gauze into our pack. And right between those 2 rolls of gauze, we can perfectly fit 2 rolls of 3M self-adherent tape. Again, pretty obvious, a very versatile piece of kit that can really just help you adhere any of these things in your kit that might need a little extra help staying in place. And the very last thing we're going to put in that mesh pocket is going to be 1 more set of rolled nitrile gloves. Those will go right on top of those 3M self-adherent rolls. And finally, the very last item in our kit will be the gold standard of wound packing, the Kerlix or Krinkle gauze. That'll just go right on top, and obviously you can see from here, it is a pretty easy operation to get this kit folded back in on itself and zipped right up. And that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, I need to emphasize that this is not medical advice because I'm truly not qualified to provide that. However, I do hope that if nothing else, this video served as an inspiration for some people who are interested in developing their own knowledge, possibly taking courses and building kits like this. I know sometimes it just doesn't have the appeal of buying some more ammo or buying new mags, but I promise you, if you ever need a kit like this, it'll be the best money you ever spent.